In this episode of WeBlocks Academy, we will talk about functions, loops, variables, and we will create an awesome Webflow project. Hey guys, my name is Mac, and in this episode of WeBlocks Academy, we will create very simple animations with a hover on the number. These blocks are going to the top, but what is so special about this animation is that when we hover on the box, the number is lighting up. So this animation is connected in both directions. And the whole project is created in a Webflow. But in this video, I will focus on the animation part, which is created in a WeBlocks, a tool where you can create a JavaScript code with blocks. So the first thing which I need to do is to connect WeBlocks with Webflow. Just copy and paste the script to the footer and save it, publish. And right now, when I will refresh this project, this animation should not work because we will work on a fresh project. I will show you step by step how to create this animation. So the first thing, I will show you how this animation will work in a Webflow. I will add a class active to the number. Then we are changing the background of this number. We are changing color to the black, and I added also a transition for color and background color to make this animation smoother. And exactly the same when I'm adding a class active to product box, I'm changing the margin top by -14, and I'm adding a transition for margin top to 100 milliseconds. On the beginning, we don't have class active on any element, but when I'm choosing a trigger on mouse over in a class number, I want to add an animation, add class active to class number. Okay, right now, if I will refresh and I mouse over the number, all the elements with the class number get the new class active. If I would like to select only this one element, I can use in a WeBlocks an element which is triggering only the first element. So right now I can choose from the math number 1. And right now, when I mouse over the class number, which is the first element with this class in a project, I'm adding a class active to exactly the same element. Okay, right now when I will refresh, you can see that only this one element has a class active and those two are not working. Okay, right now, if we have mouse over, we need to add also mouse out. I just copy and paste this block and I add mouse out, and inside of the add, I use remove. Right now, when I will set mouse over, I'm adding this class, and mouse out, I'm removing it. So this way we create this animation for number 1. But how to connect it with this element? If I add a class active to product box, which is also number 1, it's first product box in a project, and here I want to remove it. Right now, when I will refresh, you can see that this mouse over is also triggering this product box. But this is not working when I mouse over the product box, then it should also work. So let's add it. Right now, I will just copy and paste it And inside of the number, I will write here product box, and here also product box, because this is the class of this element, product box. Okay, let's refresh. And right now this animation is working in a both direction when I mouse over the number and when I mouse over the product box. And in a WeBlocks, it's very important to remember that if we have exactly the same code in two places, we can use something what is called function. It will help us a lot because it will make our program much easier, and it will make much easier to add next and next blocks and next numbers. So right now I will create a function which will be called mouse over animation, and I will just drag this code here, and I can remove this code from this place and call this function in these two places. And exactly the same I can do for the mouse out animation. Okay, can remove, and call mouse, not mouse over, but mouse out animation. And right now when I refresh, the project is working exactly the same. But our program is much easier to add the next number, because we need to connect it with the number 2 and number 3. So right now, when I will add it for number 2 and mouse out for number 2, it will use this function, but if you see, something is not working here, because we have number 1 and it's connected with the number 1. If we have number 2, we would like to connect it also with the number 2, and that's why we have variables inside of the function. I can create a variable which will be called, for example, item. And instead of this, I will just delete this block and delete this block, and I will use a variable item. And in this place, I can use item is 2, and in this place, item is 1. Right now, I have to do exactly the same for mouse out. I will remove this. I will use item. And in this place, I will use number 2 and number 1. Okay, and for product box, I can do exactly the same. Okay, let's refresh. And it's working for number 1 and number 2, but number 3 is still not working. And right now, if I would like to add number 3, I could copy and paste this and do it once again, but we don't have to do it, because we can put all of this code which is in the function. So, but first I need to select the code which is connected with the number 1. This is for number 1, and this is code for number 2. Right now, I could copy and paste all this code and do it for number 3, but I can create a function which will be called hover animation, put this here, create a variable which will be called, it can be also called item, it's not important. And right now I will delete all the places where we have number 1, and instead of the number 1 I will use item. And after that, I will be able to call this function with the item which I want. And I can do it much faster this way if I would like to make it for item 1. Okay, I copy and paste it for number 2 and hover animations for number 3. And this way, when I would like to make it work for number 3, okay, and right now if we try to hover on the 1, 2, and 3, it's working perfectly. But what if I would like to add in a Webflow number 4, and how to make it even easier than right now? I will just need to copy and paste and create item 4, but maybe there is a way to make it easier, and actually there is. We can create something what is called a loop. I can choose a loop count with, and this loop can work this way. If I will say hover over and I will use the item I, because we count with I from 1 to 3 by 1, then it will work exactly the same, because it will call this function 3 times from 1 to 3 using variable I. So right now, well, if I will refresh, we have, it works exactly the same. Right now, if I would like to add element number 4, I would need to change this element to 4, but inside of the loop, and it's counting the elements with the class number. So this way, our program will know how many elements with the class number we have, and that's how many times our program will call this function. In this way, if I will do a change in a Webflow and I will add the element, okay, I'm creating number 3 and duplicate number 4. Right now I'm changing the position, I'm changing the number, I'm checking if it is correct in a navigation. Okay, so number 4 is exactly the number, has a div with the class number, which is 4 in this project. And right now I create product box 4. I will create a space for it in a grid. Okay, and right now you can change the name, super keyboard, and change it into 4. And right now, if I will publish it, I don't do any change in a WeBlocks. Okay, and I refresh, and this is also working. Okay, right now we have 4 elements, and this is working because we used a loop with a count element. Okay, so this way you learn how to use loops, how to use functions, how to use add and remove class. So if you like this way of creating animations, just log into WeBlocks, try it on your own, and don't forget to hit the subscription button to be notified about new videos, and like this video to allow more people to see this content. Thank you very much. See you soon.